Hi, and welcome to Transformation Now. I'm Rita Rocker, international author, speaker, and trainer with SoaringHigher.rocks, and I want to welcome you today. What I'm going to be doing for the next several programs is working on the book, Creating Your Own Destiny, and that is Power Steps for Mind-Body Renewal. This is a fascinating book that I wrote to really help people to go forward in life, especially if maybe in times like now, things have been difficult for so many people and we need to rise up again, get back on our feet, get back in the race. And so I'm going to be working on that the next several programs. And I do have a workbook, if you are interested in that, that will help you actually set the steps, establish, think about everything that's going on in your life, and literally you can make plans to go forward. Recently I've been through some devastating trauma myself, and so a lot of this I'm going back into and reestablishing and creating new steps. So we'll be talking a lot about that today. So just to share with you, first of all, the table of contents that I'm going to be working with you on this book is emerging from the wilderness. You know, so many times we do feel like we're in a wilderness. We feel lost. We feel alone. We just don't know where to turn. And so it's going to be emerging from the wilderness and then unleashing the power phoenix within you. It's time to rise. I love the pictures I've seen of a phoenix who has just kind of gone down, burned up, ashes. Sometimes we feel that way, and yet breaking through and rising again. And so that's my biggest goal in life, is to help other people do that as well, because I've been through it and just coming back again from it. And then the third chapter is behind the mask. You're beautiful under there. Or for men, I'd say, you're handsome under there. So remember that as we work to get behind any mask that we may have in front of us to try to hide from who we feel like that we really are. The fourth one is the miracle in my mirror, because we are miracles. When we look at ourselves in the mirror, that's what we need to see. Then limiting beliefs, confining boundaries, not in my world. And so that's really changing our attitudes and going, not anymore. I'm not accepting the things that I accepted in the past. Then there's, you're not getting older, you're just getting better. And I've been talking to some people that said, yes, could you deal with helping people as they're getting older to still feel successful and to start over? A lady last night who is recently widowed just asked me that. Would you work on a program to help those of us who've gone through things get back up again? Because life isn't just about young people, it's about old people. Okay, turning chaos into creativity. That's very, very important. And as we set our minds to move a different direction from maybe how chaotic things could have been the last few years especially. The confident woman, or man I could say, designing your success story. And that takes work to design and recreate. Create your ideal image and brand yourself for success. So that goes into image building, and it also goes into getting out into the working world, in the community, in social events, in our careers. And then the last chapter is using your divine talents and abilities, because we all have them, and sometimes we kind of forget that we are all made in God's image and we have many divine attributes. Okay, so in the introduction, I say, you are a warrior. Yes, you. It's time for a radical reinvention, maybe? Have you ever felt like you were on a merry-go-round and you just wanted to get off? I'm sure many of you could say, oh yeah, I'm on a merry-go-round right now. So stand up and fight for your divine place in this world. And yes, we do have to fight for it quite often, especially nowadays. So practice the life-transforming steps in this book and make your goal a reality now. So that's the opening to the book. And then discover your power steps to spirit, soul, and body. Well, our spirit, everybody has a spirit inside of them. And so that's very important. We're a three-part being, spirit, soul, and body. Our soul is our will, our intellect, and our emotions. So that's a big part of us. And both the spirit and the soul are housed in our body. And so a lot of times we need breakthroughs in all of those areas, healing our spirit, healing our soul, and just working forward. And so we want to revive. These are 4 R's, revive. A lot of times we have to be revived because it's been so tough, and to get back up on our feet again. Restore to wholeness. And then there's rebuild. That means redesigning, rebuilding, and that takes work to plan out our new life and our new adventure. And then release what we have done, how we've redesigned back into the world. So that's very, very important. We were created, all of us, for a particular plan in our life. And so I'll be working a lot with that the next few programs. So why you believe you are where you are. We are where we are now because of decisions and choices and things that have happened to us up to this point. A year from now, we can either still be where we are, or we can plan now for where our life will be a year from now, no matter if you can see the potential, the possibilities or not. We can plan, we can make choices, we can take steps to get there. And so some of the things are, why am I where I am right now? It could be words that others, parents, siblings, teachers, coaches, who knows, most anybody, partners have said, can take us to a place where we are right now. Our environment, how we grew up, where we went to school, what kind of jobs we had, the kind of people we associated with, our environment quite often will put us in a particular place. Sometimes it's comfortable to be in an environment that seems familiar because maybe that's how we grew up, but it's not a positive environment to stay in. And sometimes they're like, well, I'm not worthy of going any farther than that. Oh yes, everyone is. Treatment. Okay, what kind of treatment and from who? How was it done? So sit down and really think about this. How was I treated by a partner, a parent, a teacher, a coach, somebody? How was I treated and how was this done? Because as you sit there and think about that, it's going to go, oh yes, I remember now. Maybe a teacher or a parent said, you're not a smart ass, you're never going to get anywhere, something like that. And that put thoughts in our heads like, oh yeah, I'm not even going to try. I'm not as smart as my sister. I'm not as athletic as my brother, etc. No, we all have our own gifts and they're all different. Our psychology, our minds, because whatever we do, whatever we make decisions in our brain, our mind, there's brain plasticity that really we can turn a brain that's maybe not working so well and very negative into something positive because it is plastic, and we can change it with our thoughts and our mindset. And I'm learning more and more about that even now, which has been very helpful. And then our bodies, inside and out. What's going on inside of our bodies? Is there a lot of pain? Is there a lot of discomfort? Is it from a very poor diet? Is it because of a lot of tension and high cortisol levels? What is it? So think about those things that are affecting you. A lot of times trauma and upsets can cause your stomach to be in knots and then you don't feel good. So just think about those things. And then on the outside, what's going on? Sometimes we kind of neglect the outside of us because the inside is so hurt and we feel like, what the heck, why bother? And so it's really important to sit down and think, why am I where I am at this time? What are the decisions that I've made that have brought me to this place, the choices that I've allowed? And so I'll be elaborating on that more as we go through the program. What is your purpose in life? A lot of us know, some of us don't know for sure, but what feels closest to your heart? What has always tugged on your heart and you think, oh, I can't do that. I don't have the skill, I don't have the ability, my family didn't have the money. No, what is closest to your heart? Because with a friend of mine, when I talked to her grandson, and he got into real estate, and so I was just talking to him one day, and I said, well, how you doing in that? Because at the time he was working there, but he wasn't old enough to have his license yet. He just got that recently. But when he talked about being in the real estate company, he just lit up. I mean, he totally lit up. And I said, wow, that's exactly what you were called to do. Look at you. You're just so bright. You're just so happy about it. And so we all have things in our heart. Mine has always been to work with people with communication skills, self-esteem, career development, helping them to rise and go forward. So you have something in your heart, whether you do kind of realize it or not, that is actually your purpose in life, what makes you happy, what makes you want to share it with other people. Maybe you have a really good scientific and mathematical brain, and you want to use that to help people to build businesses, to manage their finances, to get out of debt, whatever the case may be. So think about that too. What tugs on your heart? And write that down. And always when you're working with writing things down and taking notes, please don't write your notes in your computer. And I get distracted a lot by my phone when I'm hearing little clicks. You want to put all that away, and you want to sit quietly, even if you have to sit in your car because there's so much noise in the house, whatever the case may be, and work on this with a notebook and a pen so you don't have distractions pulling you away from really thinking deeply about how did I get here and then where you need to go. But first of all, think, how did I get to this place where I am now? Maybe a lot of that part of your life is great, but there's this one piece that's really distracting, it's hurtful, whatever the case may be. So how did this happen? What did I allow to happen to me? And what choices did I make because of it? And it could really be a big eye-opener. So then difficult steps are often required to prepare us for our new experiences and for education. A lot of times it will take some difficult steps to break a relationship or move to a different city or something like that. So a lot of times it's not necessarily easy. It's like bam, overnight. A lot of times we have to really work with our mind and fight negative thoughts and break away from things that we shouldn't be around in order to achieve what we've been called to do, what we've been gifted inside to do. And also the connections. What connections will launch us higher? I'm starting to reach out again to people that I hadn't reached for a long time because of things that were going on in my own life. Okay, that's not necessarily easy for me, but I'm doing that. So reach out to those who can encourage and feed and are doing the things that you want to do, the kind of career you want to have, and the kind of lifestyle you want to have. Okay, that's really, really important. So think about that, and the faith that you need. It might take in some of these struggles to say goodbyes, say our goodbyes. The mind dialogue that we have, are we constantly thinking negative, fearful, painful thoughts, defeated thoughts, I'm no good thoughts, or are we constantly switching, which I'm doing right now, constantly switching those thoughts and shifting them to what you do want? Okay, that is so important, and yes, it does take work. But in order to overcome the negatives and move forward, that's really, really important to do. Realignment in life. Okay, spirit, soul, and body can often be compared to realigning a car. Gee whiz, I just had that done yesterday. And so examining why the car keeps wandering off its path, it's kind of wandering to the side sometime, it needs to be realigned, wearing down part of the tire unevenly. It's out of balance. Sometimes our lives are out of balance. We spend all of our time working in one area or with certain people while neglecting things over here that we really want to do, and that would be very good for us. So think about that. Out of balance car, out of balance life. Spending not enough time in an area we need, we want, we deserve. Okay, a lot of times we don't think we deserve to be in a certain lifestyle. Oh yes, we all do. And so think about that. And so your own spirit, soul, and body. So where a person, place, or thing is maybe taking up too much time, too much energy, and so, okay, I need to say no. I need to start connecting with some positive people who will make me feel good and not fearful, not negative, anything like that. So anything that would lessen our value. So where do you feel your life needs to be realigned to get back on the road to your true destiny? Sit there and think about that, because it's a really awakening experience when thoughts will pop into your head when it's quiet and you go, okay, what choices have I made? How did I get here? And you're going, oh my gosh, yes, this really affected me when I was 5 years old. Something that somebody said, and a teacher or coach said, oh, you're never going to amount to it. I mean, Einstein, when he was 4 years old, he had a hard time speaking, and basically his teacher said he'll never amount to anything because he was stupid, okay? And I'll down the road have some more examples, but I mean, my goodness, you can't go by what somebody said. their opinions mean absolutely nothing. It's just something coming out of their mouths. It does not determine your value or your worth. You're made in God's image. You can't get any better than that. Okay, so that means changing or eliminating, and that's a big word, eliminating certain situations, certain people, and adding different relationships. You know, God is faithful for friendships. Lately, I've been praying, God, can I have some new friends that are a little more aligned with where I am right now? And He is doing that. So never be afraid to ask God for new friends, new opportunities, new open doors, educational programs that He can bring to you, new work opportunities that He can bring to you to get life back on track. You know, I saw something yesterday, a lady named Erica Gilchrist, and I co-authored a book. That was my first co-author I ever did. And she posted something yesterday. She has these little 1-minute programs, and she was talking about when somebody goes out of our lives and it hurts. It hurts. They're not here anymore. They left for whatever reason. And then she said, the people you lose during your healing process are only meant to be with the unhealed version of you. And I messaged her last night, and she messaged me back, and I said, oh my gosh. I said, yes, they were meant to be with you, not necessarily meant, but they were with you during the unhealed version of you. Now that you're going through a healed version, creating a healed version of you, a new version of you, they need to be gone. And I said, I really love that, is that they're part of the unhealed version, and we're not there anymore, excuse me. In Anthony Robbins, who I watched some programs of his recently, said, it is in your moments of decision that your destiny is shaped. And I'm thinking, wow, you know what? We have so many decisions, real life decisions, that maybe life just keeps going by and we just keep following whatever is happening. No, we have to sit down and actually make decisions on what steps we're going to take next. And so think about that. Just sit down and really make some solid decisions on where you want to go. So what are you speaking about yourself and your life? Wow. I mean, stop and think about it. I am trying right now, once again, to think, what am I thinking right now? And like, oh, nope. And so then I have to flip that thought and think the exact opposite. And so what are you speaking to yourself? And one time, and I know this sounds a little tacky, but one time a few years ago, I was sitting just having some quiet time, and a thought came into my head of something silly I did. I don't even remember what it was. But right then I said, oh, you dumb 4-letter word I can't say. Okay? And then right then, I literally heard God speak to me and say, who are you calling that? You asked me to take up residence within you. If I am within you, how can you call yourself that? And I had tears like rolling down my cheeks. I said, Father, I am so sorry, because what I had done was I had called myself something, feeling badly about myself and who I was and doing stupid things, so to speak. And it was like, no. He's in me. And so a lot of times when I start to get down on myself and think, oh, duh, why did you do this or that? I think, no, He's in me. He's in you. And so think about that, how valuable you are, and your mind, okay? He's in you. So think about that. It was really powerful for me, and it was a very good lesson. And so even the Bible says you're the temple of God and His Spirit dwells within you. Think about that. That really helps me when I get down and I start kind of freaking out about things that are going on. So think about, what are you speaking to yourself? Because you're going to have to work at that, maybe, depending on your life, and constantly stop and flip what you're saying to the opposite of what you're feeling at the moment. That is so important, but it is life transforming. So think about that right now. No one, this was by Eleanor Roosevelt, she says, no one can make you feel inferior without your permission. Okay, we're actually giving people permission to adjust our lives, alter our lives by what they say. Now, a lot of times, parents will encourage you, oh, you can do anything you want. You can go, that's awesome. That is what we need to hear. But if you're not maybe hearing that right now, you tell yourself that, how awesome you are. You're a child of God. You have all kinds of skills and all kinds of attributes. We all do. And so no one can make us feel inferior without our permission. And so whatever we allow, that can penetrate into our spirits and totally direct our lives in a way that maybe we don't want to go. So let's direct our lives in the way we do want to go. And let's hang around with the kind of people who will help get us to where we want to go, because they're positive and they're encouraging, and that is critical. They give you a pat on the back, maybe not physically, but they will by their words and their treatment of you. And so we want to do the same to other people. We want to especially look out for people who are hurting, who are going through a lot of struggles, and we want to smile. We want to give them encouragement. And so it's not just a one-way street. We have to work very carefully to also help other people go in a more positive direction and really encourage them when we see that maybe they feel down and out and their heads are down. And I met a lady recently, and I noticed she's always backing up and letting everybody go first, and I can tell she is not feeling really positive about herself, like everybody else is better than her. She's someone I'm going to really be working with, encouraging her in everything that she does, because she's a great, sweet gal. But I see her behaviors. She's very respectful and kind, but I can tell she's just kind of back, everybody else is more valuable. No, that's not true. So what you focus on, you empower, okay? You become. And so I've learned that the hard way a lot of times, and see that what we focus on, we become. When I see people who are very successful, they've done so many things in their lives, they're happy, they invested well in retirement, which I did not. And so that's something too that's hard to overcome. But we empower whatever it is we focus on. I don't want to empower negative things, and I'm sure that none of us actually want to. So we flip that thought all the time. As you focus on the new, you will be amazed how the old habits fade farther and farther back. And that is so true. It's like, no, I don't accept that anymore. I plan to do this instead. I plan to take some classes and get a new career. I plan to eliminate a couple friendships, which I've had to do recently, and pray for new friends that are positive, that are uplifting. So it makes all the difference in the world. So let's integrate necessary elements for revival. Integration, we're going to bring them together. We're going to bring in new things into our life. And that causes synergy. You think of a rope. Okay, a rope is made up of a bunch of strands. One strand, which would be like us, okay, a lot of times we're not strong enough on ourselves, but as we build synergy with other people and knot that together, we have a lot of strength. And I think of synergy with God and how much strength that is when we work together. And I tell him every day, I'm going to hold your hand and let's go at this together. And he will do that and make you stronger. So think about that, because you are a beautiful creation. We all are. And that's something that I think a lot of times we don't think about enough. Okay, so in the first chapter in the book, then it's emerging from the wilderness. It's time to rise. And I'm going to be sharing a picture on the program of a rising phoenix, because again, when they get beat down and they're in the ashes, they can rise again. And so think about that so much. I love that picture because it's so encouraging. We don't have to stay down. And so when I was, I remember back when I was Mrs. Nebraska, and my husband had just died during my term, and I was speaking at a large Christian women's conference, and the ladies came up to me afterwards and they said, well, your message wasn't what we were expecting. And I said, well, what were you expecting? And it's kind of like, well, they thought maybe I'd be talking about being Mrs. Nebraska and blah, 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 blah. Well, I spent a lot of my year in the hospital with him and then ended my year as a widow. And so I said, no, I mean, my whole purpose is to help build up people when they've fallen down, when they've been knocked down, when they've been deeply hurt, to rise up, get back up, dust their knees off, and get back on the race. And they appreciated it, but I thought, no, I don't want to talk about that stuff. I want to talk about building us up again and getting us to go forward. So that's very, very important. And I think of a newly created, growing in strength, and that type of lifestyle, popularity, taking shape, coming out of the difficult situations that you've been experiencing. So that's what it's all about. And an affirmation that I love is, I am slamming the door on the past. Self-sabotage does not live here anymore. Yay. Okay. Regret, shame, and defeat have now left the building. Well, we hear about Elvis left the building. Well, I'm saying regret, shame, and defeat have left the building. Tell yourself that. So it's not allowed back in. It's a no-fly zone. Consider your home or your job a no-fly zone for those kind of comments, that kind of treatment, anything like that. No more. It's leaving the building. I don't accept it. Can't fly over my home anymore. Can't hurt my mind anymore. I don't allow it anymore. Okay? So sorry, you life destroyers. The door is locked and you can never enter my life again. That takes work. That takes stubbornness. But you can do it. And I've seen people's lives transform. I remember when I was on mission in Haiti, and one of the gals from another church came up to me, and she cried. She put her head on my shoulder, and she says, "I just feel like dog meat next to everybody else." And I went, no. And so I worked with her to try to see her value and her worth. And no, she absolutely was not, but that's how she felt, and it was affecting her whole life. And then when I was speaking to a group of women over in Iowa, and a lady who was, I think she was 76, something like that. And she says, well, I don't know what to do with my life anymore. I'm old now. I'd still like to be able to help people, but I just felt like I'm too old and I don't have anything to offer. And I said, you have everything to offer. You've been through so many life experiences. You're strong and you've been determined and you keep going. And so I really tried to encourage her. Oh no, you may be older chronologically, but please share all those life experiences that you've had to help other people think, well, to know, hey, she got through it. She went through a lot of these things. She got through it. She went forward. Look at her now. She's still moving forward. So never let age or anything like that or history cause any kind of problems with you feeling like you don't have anything to offer. I've seen people, women and men, who were in prison whose lives were totally turned around, and they were absolutely so awesome because they'd experienced it, they'd been through it, and now they had the equipment, they had the heart and the mind to help other people get past the same things in life that they went through. And those are the kind of people I love to listen to. Been there, done that, overcame it. And so think about that, all your heart. And so I will continue on this with the next program and the next several, and have a few interviews also with people who have gone through some pretty devastating things, but now they're on the other side. So I wish you all the best. I will see you soon. Thank you.